The Steelers' season is getting people talking, from a surprising campaign that challenges the AFC favorites to moments that divided opinions even among the team's legends. But there is a detail involving a bold decision by the coaching staff and a controversial comment from a player that is stirring up the backstage and stirring up the fans. Leave a like now, because you won't want to miss any part of this news. The Pittsburgh Steelers have stormed into the 2024 NFL season, smashing expectations with an 8-3 record that nobody saw coming. Preseason predictions had them struggling in the AFC North, with many doubting they'd even sniff the playoffs. But here they are, not just in contention, but being discussed as the biggest threat to the reigning AFC Kings, the Kansas City Chiefs. NFL Network's Mike Garafolo is leading that conversation, highlighting Pittsburgh's surprising consistency and their top-notch coaching staff as the reasons they could take down Kansas City. The Chiefs, of course, are no slouches. Sitting at 10-1, their only loss came against the Buffalo Bills. Still, this year's Chiefs have had some shaky moments, pulling out close wins over underdog teams like the Buccaneers and Panthers. That vulnerability has opened the door for Garafolo to crown the Steelers as Kansas City's toughest potential playoff hurdle. Coming into the season, I wouldn't have believed I'd be saying this, Garafolo admitted. But Pittsburgh's talent, and most importantly, their coaching, make them a real threat. That coaching is what stands out most. Mike Tomlin has been fearless in making bold moves, including switching to Russell Wilson as the starter despite internal disagreement. According to Garafolo, this kind of leadership has fired up the team and the coaching staff. Offensive coordinator Arthur Smith, backed by assistant Mike Sullivan, has adapted beautifully, finding ways to retool the game plan for Wilson. On the defensive side, Terrell Austin's work has been so sharp that his name might soon resurface in head coaching conversations. Special teams coach Danny Smith also gets his share of love for keeping that unit performing at a high level. The real test for Pittsburgh is yet to come. They'll host the Chiefs on Christmas Day, a showdown at Acrisure Stadium that could reveal if the Steelers truly belong in the conversation with the AFC's elite. First, though, they face a critical divisional clash with Joe Burrow and the Bengals in Week 13, a must-win to keep pace in the tight AFC North race. To close out the season strong, Pittsburgh's defense has to step up big. TJ, Watt and Minkah Fitzpatrick have been key, but injuries to Alex Highsmith and Nick Herbig have tested the depth of the pass rush. Herbig is back, and the team hopes Highsmith can return in time to face Cincinnati. With Watt drawing extra attention, the supporting cast needs to shine to keep the Steelers' playoff dreams alive. This season's Steelers have shown grit, adaptability, and a whole lot of heart. If they can keep it up, they might just be the team to finally knock Kansas City off their pedestal. So, what do you think of the Steelers' season so far? Are we seeing the team become one of the biggest contenders for the title? Leave your opinion in the comments. And now, let's move on to an even more controversial issue that promises to divide opinions. The Pittsburgh Steelers are in regroup mode after a frustrating loss to the Cleveland Browns on Thursday Night Football. The offense's sluggish start buried them early, and while everyone in the building knows they underperformed, some pointed fingers elsewhere. One excuse in particular drew the ire of Steelers legend Ben Roethlisberger. After the game, wide receiver George Pickens blamed the weather for the Steelers' poor showing, even going as far as to claim the Browns aren't a better team. On his podcast, Footballin' with Ben Roethlisberger, Big Ben weighed in, offering some advice to the young star. Drop the excuses. You want to say the Browns aren't as good as you? Fine, you're entitled to that, Roethlisberger said. But don't blame the weather. Let us do that. Let the media do that. It's just not a good look. Roethlisberger, who owned the Browns throughout his career, understands the pain of losing a game Pittsburgh should have handled with ease. Still, he pointed out the obvious. The Browns dealt with the same weather. For a player like Pickens, who's trying to cement himself as one of the NFL's elite receivers, pinning the loss on external factors isn't the way to go. Roethlisberger's comments weren't meant to pile on the young receiver, but to help him navigate the spotlight and develop as a pro. It's clear Pickens was frustrated, not just with the loss, but with his own performance. He managed only 4 catches for 48 yards while facing tight coverage and minimal help from the officials, who allowed physical play from Cleveland's defensive backs. That irritation boiled over post-game, but now it's about moving forward. Luckily, Pickens and the Steelers have a golden opportunity to bounce back with a pivotal matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals. Pickens has a history of torching Cincinnati, including a jaw-dropping performance last year when he posted 195 yards and 2 touchdowns on just 4 catches in a blowout win. The Steelers need that version of Pickens as they push for a division title and playoff momentum. For Pittsburgh, it's not just about Pickens shining in the Bengals game, it's about consistency. The offense has to wake up earlier in games instead of relying on the defense to carry the load. The Browns game was a harsh reminder. Waiting until the fourth quarter to make plays isn't a sustainable strategy, especially with playoff spots on the line. The coaching staff has already turned the page to Cincinnati, and they'll need Pickens locked in. If he brings his best, it not only boosts Pittsburgh's chances this week, but sets the tone for a playoff push. With a tight AFC race, every win matters, and the Steelers can't afford to stack losses this late in the season. This is their chance to build momentum, strengthen their case as division leaders, and most importantly, put the Cleveland loss firmly in the rearview mirror. The Steelers are having a season of ups and downs, but their potential is undeniable. The team is surprising with important victories, but also letting easy opportunities slip away. It's time for everyone, players, and staff, to adjust the details. If you enjoyed the content, subscribe to the channel and don't miss anything about the next steps of your favorite team.